Okay, guys. Today we're going to be talking about soft link and hard link. So before we get there, we need to know about what is an inode. You know, an inode is the way of for the computer to know about any single file or any single folder that exists inside the computer himself. So that's how the computer identifies what file it is and what is about that file. And also, the inode does not know, the name of the file or either the content of the file. So it's just like having someone, you know, uh, ID card, but the name of that ID card is not in there. Like you have all the information about the person, but you don't know his name and you don't know the information of the content that is have. And to see information about the inode, we use the command start. For example, if I do a start on that file host that I see up there, it's going to give me what is the inode about that file and how the computer know everything about him, except what is inside the file, even though here the start command sees the name. So knowing that now, we need to talk about what is the hard link and the soft link. Starting with the hard link, let's say I want to get into this file that I have here, vim into var www html vhost w and then we're going to do wp.config config.sample. To get into this file, I had to type, a bunch of command. That was a long way how to get out of there, right? Like this whole thing is pretty long to type all this every time I want to get in there. So what I would decide to do, I want to create a link that's going to make me get there without me typing all that. And to do that, I need to create either a hard link or a soft link. So the difference between the hard link or the soft link is that the hard link, when you create a hard link, the original file and the hard link file have the same size. The two file have the same inode, and the two files are independent from each other. That means if I destroy the original file, the hard link still gonna exist. And to create that, since I don't want to type again all the things, let me call the file wp hard, for example. Let's say hard wp. And to create that, I'm using the command ln. Here, if I do ln, that's the command that you use to create the hard link. So I'm using the hard link of all this. I don't want to type all this anymore. Next time, I'm just going to type this small thing. By the time I press enter, if I do ls, now I have this file here in my home directory. And if I do start on that file, hard wp, if I do start on that file, these are the information that I get. Let's try to do also start on this long link that we have on the beginning here. As we can see here, the inode here is going to be the same, and the inode here of this file is the same. The size of the file, they have the same size, and even the permission, as you can see, there's the same permission here that is connected to it. So pretty much all the information that are assigned to it like are pretty much the same. And that's how we create a hard link, And if I decide to vim in that file, I guess we did that earlier. We get the same content, it's pretty much the same thing. I can get to that file without having to type up that long command. So in the same manner, I can decide to create a soft link. What's going to make a difference with the soft link is the inode for the soft link going to be different the size of the file going to be different. If I delete the original file, then the soft link will not matter anymore. Like it won't have any purpose again for it to be there. And to do that, let's try to create a soft link with the same command. Here, I'm going to do a soft WP here. And to create a soft link, we just need to add the N, the S, sorry, ln minus S for the soft link. If I press enter, when I do LL here, we're going to have our soft link here that we created. So that's how you know that you have a soft link. And also you see like there's an L that was put it here in front of the permission. So the L here make you see that it's a soft link. And here also you're going to see this small arrow that show that it's a soft link. And let's do start on the original file like we do here. When we do start, this is what we get. But if we do a start on the soft link, this is what we get here. We see the I know that we have here is different from what we get here. You know, the size of the file that we have here, 29 something. Here we only got like 57 something. The permission access, you see like the file of the permission has changed. We don't have the same access of permission anymore. Those are the different things that make the you know, that make a file different from the hard link to the soft link, as you guys can see. And also pay attention, this like the amount of link that you see here is also how many times the file has been linked here inside the folder. Here we can see a connection, but here we do not have any connection, you know. So I'm just pointing to you guys like all the little different stuff that you can see when it's come to a soft link and a hard link. And if I zoom into that file, also like a soft link here, it put me inside the same file. So modifying something in this file is going to be like I was making the modification to the whole big part that we know. So let's say if I decide to remove this file, as you know, I will do a rm and I remove the original file. Yes, I want to remove it. Now when I'm going to do a rm, you see the soft link does not have like no purpose to be there anymore. Like he doesn't see the connection, who he need to be linked on, who he need to be connected on. So that's why you see it's kind of blinking. And here you see the hard link, he's only have now just one connection. So that means it's just him, he's not connected to anybody else on the file anymore. And if you try to zoom inside the hard link, the file still exists here. So the hard link, even if you delete the original file, the hard link is still gonna exist. But if we try to zoom inside the soft link here, it just seems to create a new file just because the original file does not exist anymore. So it's just something that is not out there or whatever. So that's pretty much the idea when it's come to the soft link and the hard link inside the file system. And you know, you can use our find command that we know, and we try to look at all the files that have the link on them. So, you know, dash type L, and this is going to give us like pretty much all the files that you know, are linkable inside our system. And we see that it's kind of, you know, as we can see, a bunch of them. I'm just going to cancel this just for verification. If we take one of these files and we do a LL, we see this file says soft link, and we see the L that is here. So whatever what content in this file, I can just type d of the c here, and you know, it's pretty much the same thing. So Next, now we're going to talk about some built-in command. So when we come on the terminal, there's a lot of built-in command already. Like when we start the beginning, even when we use the cd command, it's a built-in command, or the pwd command. Those are built-in command. And to see pretty much all of the built-in command, you can type com gen. Oh, what did I type? Com gen dash b. And this one gives us a list of the pretty much the built-in command that we already have that come the Linux system from the beginning. And so, like I was saying, we have the pwd. So there's a couple of them. We even see like there's a times command, which is going to give us the time. But here we're going to talk about three of them, which is going to be the first one is the echo command. So we can do echo dash dash help to see. Oh, I guess the echo does not have a dash dash help attached to it. Or either we can go to the man page to have more information about it. What makes echo great is that whatever word that you type in front of it, like we have been saying here, what I type in front of echo, it's just going to give it back to me what I just typed. When I type echo this, it just gives that back to me. So if I do echo Raul, it's going to give back the Raul thing that I type in front of it. And this is pretty helpful, basically, mainly when it's going to go to scripting. And I can just do a quick example like within sorry, as you're going to see sometime on a file. If I say here, for example, echo, oh, if I say echo, like what is your name, and this is going to be how you're going to see how important this is. So if I do chmod, I give the explanation on that file salary that I created. If I run it like this, now say what is your name. This kind of gives you an idea about those type of thing where you say, like, even when you try to log in or say like, oh, you need to type something when you select script sometimes, that's where that idea of echo comes from. So echo can be used in much more many ways. It just depends on what you want to do about it, and it's a pretty useful command. Like maybe one of the examples is I can do like echo for some reason. I want it to like appear on the second line, and then I will use the sub command that comes with it as an end. And basically, I want you to, show Raul on the next line. Echo. I wanted to show Raul on the next line. And this is the backslash like this, and they give us a space here. So that backslash n that I put here basically is what I've come up with this, and you're going to see this is going to be quite important when you're going to be writing some script or something. The next command that we're going to talk about is going to be the alias command. The alias command is mainly used for you to write your own command. Like if you write your own thing, you use the alias command. So for example, and if I want to see like all the alias that already been set so far, if I only tap the alias command, it's going to show us like all the alias command that are already preset. I want to type my own command and I will call it maybe gen. To do that, I will say alias, and I'm creating my own command gen, and that command gen, I want to, maybe use the cat command to do my own command gen. By the time I press enter, now if I do a gen just like that, it's expecting me to put something in. But since I did not, let's say, what file did I have here? We have salary. So I will do gen, and then I want to open the file called salary, and here it's just going to open the file for me. So I kind of change this command to do my own thing with it. For example, if I can either change this, I would say I want to make it a cat dash B, for example. I don't want to type that whole thing all the time. I only want to type a cat dash B to make my own command with it. So if now I open that command with gen, this is what it's giving me as an output. So I didn't have to type cat dash B, I only type one word. And you can like decide to automate, organize your own command the way you want, and every time to make your life easy on the terminal. The next command that we're going to be talking about is going to be the read command. The read command, basically what it does is just expect you to type something. Like when I say read, for example, like this, now it's going to expect me to type something, whatever what it expects me to type. And maybe we'll add Raul, for example. When I press in, that's when it's going to go back. And to better see it, let's add this in the script that we just made earlier. Like here, I have this. If here I add like read, and by the time I save this like this, and I want to run that script, so you say, what is your name? Now it expects you to type something, and I'm going to type my name is Raul. And that's how you see pretty much the importance of the read command and the echo command, like how they can go together and how they can be very useful. Those commands, like you can still do the dash help on it, dash help on them to have a better idea, or like help them use them in a more fashion way. Like maybe the dash T will expect you to type in with a specific amount of time, or either dash n here is gonna expect you to type a specific amount of character or something like that. So you can use that with all those variants. Um, as always, it's gonna depend on what you want. So here, if we do, I will say dash T, and I want you to put your name is like in 2 seconds. So you're gonna have 2 seconds to type your name, and if you pass 2 seconds, the screen they're gonna come back to original. What is your name? And here I need 2 seconds. 2 seconds was gone. I couldn't type, and the thing just went back to the original state. So those are the three commands when it comes to the built-in that we need to kind of look on and get a little bit more familiar with it as more we move forward. So now what we're going to introduce in the game is going to be what we call file description. The file description file, usually all these come much more helpful when it comes to scripting. But the file description, they came in three different types. We have what we call the standard output. So you're going to see the standard output. This one is usually referred to the number one as a standard output, and you also going to see the standard input, and the standard input going to refer to the number zero like this. and you're also going to see the standard error, and the standard error going to refer to number 2, right? So basically, these three numbers, like these three operations or three, I don't know how to call it exactly, refer to what we call about the file description. And the standard output is just like, normally when I do an LL, this here that is showing up on the computer screen is what is called a standard output, sorry. Like the command was executed successfully, and then it gave me the output of whatever what I'm supposed to get. And that make it just a standard output, just like that is. And it's something that we have been doing all this time. But now if it's happened that you type a command that does not exist, or something that you are not supposed to type or you are not supposed to do, the computer is going to give you a feedback saying like, hey, you are not supposed to, this, this not execute properly, or you are not supposed to do that. For example, if I type the command like ls like this command does not exist. It's a wrong command. The computer does not understand it. Then it's telling me command not found. This command not found that the computer is showing me is basically what is called the standard error. I guess I wrote that error wrong. That's not how you write the error, but this what is supposed to mean a standard error. Like sometimes, like when you try to LLS file or either log in inside a file that you're not supposed to, like if I want to run the script on that file host that I have over there, and this output that I see that is given back to me, permission denied, that I cannot run it, this is a standard error that the computer is just showing me. And then the standard input that we see here, that's going to be referring, like when you run, like the script that we run earlier on the Salon, for example, here is expecting me to type something. So that is what is going to call the standard input, because I'm supposed to, me as a user, I'm supposed to enter something before the script continue to do what it's supposed to do, right? That is what is called standard input. At this time, I'm interacting with the shell. So the computer is waiting for a standard input at the moment. So that's what make up those file description. Like the standard output, you type a good command, the computer do what it's supposed to do, and it is give you an output on the screen. Or if you have a standard error, like you type a wrong command or you type something that you are not supposed to be typing, and the computer is saying like, hey, I cannot process this, there's something wrong with that. Or either you're going to have the standard input now where the computer going to expect for you to type something before it continue to do whatever what is supposed to be doing. This thing is a lot helpful when writing a script, right? And I'm going to show you an example where how you're going to use it while writing a script. Imagine that you have a script that have like 10,000 lines. There's so many lines into it that you cannot go into any script at any given time. So what now you want to do is, I just want to see, what was the error or what is the computer complain about, so that I can go over it. So let's say if we use our command that we always have, the ls command, we do ls, and then when you don't go in the ls, I want you to print the date, for example. And then when you don't print in the date, I want you to type the ls command. I don't know why this guy is not lining it up. Date. So let's save this like that and run that script. Right. So here we see what is the output of the ll command. This is what we get as an output, normal output. What's the output of the day? This is what we get as the normal output. And now, what is the output of this command of arm? So now what I want to do next is I only want to see, take the standard error of that file, or what is the standard error materialized by the symbol 2. Take the standard error and put it on the file that I'm going to call error.txt, for example, here enter. In this case, you see error.txt file here will apply here, and these are the command that was successful. These are the command that was successful, but the command that is failing did not show up. Where did it go? Inside the error.txt. And now let's cut that error.txt, and we're gonna see here the command that say the standard error one. So that's how you can use it, like in the big screen. And for example, if I say I only want to see the standard input, and that we know that is materialized with the number 1. So this is gonna give me what is supposed to come out normally by the time I press enter. Now it show me only the standard error because I didn't ask for it. The computer do its thing normally. But if I cut my error file at the moment, here I'm going to see, what was I supposed to get normally, because this was not an error because I called for the standard error in this case. I mean, for the standard output in this case, as using the number 1 to do so. So when it comes to the file description, this is basically what you're going to be going through, and how it can be useful to do like a troubleshooting on the file scripting that you're going to be writing sometime. And at the same time, the last part of this journey that we're going to learn today is going to be about some extra symbols in Linux. There's so many symbols that going around the place. We're just going to add them a little bit as the further we go, a little bit we're going to be adding some of those commands. So the first command that we're going to have is this guy like this, and this symbol is called the %. So what does the %? Does it take a command? No, it takes a job that is happening and it's put it in the background. Like let's say, for example, if I want to open that file, vim, and the file that we have is salute, and I say, while you open that file, take it in the background. And the file is open, but now the file went into the background. It's like I wanted to see it open, but I want to take that file in the background. It showed me that here I only have one file in the background at the moment. And I can do the same thing. I can decide to cut that other file that we call error.txt, and we decide to send it in the background like this. So in this case here, it's showing us that we have 2 files here that are in the background at the moment. Even though the file is not still in process, it's done, but it shows that we have 2 files in the background. To take that file out of the background, I need to do the front ground command like this. And when I do the front ground, it just opened the ls, the vim file that I was into earlier. So that's how one of the way you use that command automatically. And if we do again another front ground, it's going to tell you there's nothing currently on the background. There's nothing happening there. The background is empty at the moment. So we have that %, is to send the job in the background. You might need it sometime, depending on whatever what you're going to be doing while you're working. And you're going to see also the %, 2 times, like 2 %. And these 2 % stand for an operator called and. An operator called and. Basically, what is saying, I want to type two commands at the same time. In this case, I want to do ls and I want to do the date. I want to type these two commands at the same time. And what I will do, I will use the %. Execute execute the first command only if no execute the second command only if the first command is successful. So by the time I press enter, here we have the first command with this ls, and that was successful, and now it's print the second command. If I recall it, and let's say something that is so wrong here, when I press enter, what does it say? ls command not found, and it did not execute the second command because the first command was false. So the $n% only execute the second command only if the first command is successful, and that's how we use it. We're also going to see the semicolon. The semicolon is used to say no, execute the first command and then execute the second command. In this case, let's say if we do ls, the semicolon, he doesn't care. He just gonna execute the first one and then go ahead and execute the second one. So for him, it doesn't really matter. Even if the first command is not the right command, then he gonna execute the second command anyway. He doesn't care. He execute any command, like each command at a time, which is quite different for the %, who execute one after he has done execute the other one. We also going to see the command, the two pipe. Two pipe or is going to stand for the operator called OR. So what does two pipe does is it's going to execute the second command only if the first command has failed. For example, if I do a ls and then we double pipe to date like this, here we only have one output and we only have the first output. He didn't execute the second one because the 2%, which is the OR, mean only execute this one. If this one is successful, do not care about the second one. So in this sense, if I add another S here and I execute it, now we see the first command had failed, but now it's giving on an output of the second command, which gives to this guy the second command gonna execute only if the first command failed. And the last thing that we're going to talk about is what is called the command grouping. And the idea of the command grouping is usually go about the parenthesis. So all what the parenthesis does is just put a bunch of commands together. So if I do like this ls and on a separate date, and I say I want to see the date, for example, that's how I group those two commands together. And in this case, you're going to see like if I go LL and I put an off, and in this two side, now I want to do the grouping where I want to print maybe LS and calendar, for example, these two commands that I'm grouping. So in this case, we know that what this guy does, he's only execute the first command, one at a time. Since we are grouped here, the parentheses make this look like it was just one command that we run. So that's why you can see the output of the ls and you see the output of the date. Since this grouping was successful, then this one does not have to run. But let's imagine that we put something in there that is wrong, like maybe another s here, which that command does not exist. What does it gonna do? Even though it executes the first command here, now he's find out the second command was wrong, something is wrong with that, then he went ahead and triggered the second command, which is the LL for the second command. And here we can see the calendar that has popped up for us. So that's the idea of the command grouping which is come with parentheses, and you can play along with all those things, depend of the output that you're going to want, or either your creativity uh, based of one you are trying to do, you know. And we know that here is a execute the second command only if the first command has failed. And here, uh, not mean execute yes. So since we see that the second command has failed here, since this one does not exist, is that did not run. So that's the idea of what we're going to be talking about today. And you guys can go ahead and practice all these things, just play around, do some small things, and we're going to come up with some scripting game that's going to help us to manipulate and better understand deeply about all these guys. So you guys have fun and enjoy doing your thing.